Good morning. Thank you all for joining us today for Discovery, Assigning Content, a Deeper Dive. I'm Melody McGill. I'm the 712 Science Curriculum Coordinator for the district, and my co-host and moderator this morning is Erica Mada, and she is our science instructional coach and works with K6. We want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. Make sure that your microphones are muted and that web cameras are off. I do need to let you know that this meeting is being recorded. By staying in the meeting, you understand that you will be recorded. Again, this is Discovery Education's Assigning Content, a Deeper Dive webinar. If you're unsure how to mute your microphone or your video camera, you'll notice if you scroll across the bottom of your screen, you're going to get a menu bar. It has the camera, the microphone, as well as the chat button. If you have questions, you can type them in the chat, but we did build in some stopping time where you'll be able to ask questions during the actual webinar itself. And remember to record your attendance. All right, our agenda for this morning is posted on your screen. We're going to be looking at accessing content both within the TechBook and without, and then how do I assign that content so that my students can see it, as well as making a determination as to where do you want to assign it? Do you want it as a Schoology link, or do you want to assign it through the Discovery platform itself? And we'll talk about the pros and cons on that. And then we'll also show you how you can impersonate a student that is on your roster so that you can see what the student view is. Or if you have a student that says, hey, I did assignment A, B, and C, but it's not showing, you can impersonate that student and go in and look at their work and see what they've done. So just a real quick overview of Discovery. When you log into Discovery, you will notice that you get a landing page or the home page that looks similar to what you see now. I want to bring your attention to the global D that's over in the left-hand corner of the toolbar. That global D is how you will always get back to this home page and landing page. You just click on it and it's going to bring you back to this page. We're going to be focused on two primary areas, but I wanted to point out an additional extra one. One of the options that you will see when you are assigning content is it will ask you if you want to assign it into my content. My content is like a file cabinet of materials that you can keep. But the two that we're going to be focusing on today is my classroom, and then of course the science TechBook. So once I've clicked on my science TechBook and I've selected my grade level, I'm going to get an overview of my course. It will include all the units and all the concepts that are embedded within your course. So what you would do is you would look at the unit that you are interested in covering with your students. You would click on a concept. Once you open up a concept, if you are TK5, you're going to get the view down here that you see as number 2, which shows the Wonder, Learn, Share. If you are 6 through 12, instead of Wonder, Learn, Share, you're going to have the 5 E's, the Explore, the Evaluate, Explain, and those will be what will be there. Same information, just kind of condensed for TK5. So I'm going to choose one of my tabs. I can choose the Wonder tab, Learn tab, and once I select one of those tabs, the activities for that tab are going to open up. Each activity is different and could be of a different type. You could have a visual literacy, you could have a video, an interactive, and that information is found on the activity tab. So you're going to click on the activity and it's going to then open up into the TechBook. So here's the assignment that I'm going to look at. So on the assignment, you're going to see a plus, and right below the plus, you're going to see 3 little dots. What you would like to do is click on those three dots and you're going to get the pull down menu and you want to select Assign. Once you've selected Assign, up's going to pop up your assignment window. In the assignment window, it's going to ask you to do your assignment date. That means when do you want them to start? Understand that when you put the assignment date in, the students will not see that on their dashboard until the date that you've asked that assignment to show. They can see it in the TechBook itself if they went searching for it, but that actual assignment appearing on their dashboard won't happen until the date it's assigned. Then you enter the due date, and then you're going to assign it to a class. For TK6, this probably is not a toolbar that you would use very often because you only have one class. However, if you are a 712 instructor, you would click on the down arrow and you would be able to select an individual class or all of your classes if you wanted to assign it across the board. And then down below, you have the option of assigning it to your students. The default for assigning to the students is that all students would appear. If you click deselect, you then have the option of selecting individual students to assign an assignment to. So if you didn't want to assign an assignment to all of them, click deselect, and then when it gives you the student list, just click on the student name and it will assign just to those students. Then you're going to click the assign button. Once you've clicked the assign button, the assignment window will disappear off your screen and it'll take you back to that assignment page embedded within the Discovery TechBook. So now we're going to look at how do I assign resources that are in Discovery, but they're outside the TechBook. So what you would do is you would go up to the toolbar at the top and you're going to find the little magnifying glass, which indicates the search. You would type in the topic that you would like to address. Once you've typed in that topic, you hit return and it's going to give you your search results. Before we get into assigning this, I want to address the filters a little bit. Down the left-hand side, there are ways that you can filter the content that you're looking for. The first one is probably not as important unless you were looking at research materials that you want students to use for, say, social studies, language arts, or science. And what you would do then is you might want to select the primary sources. If it's something that you feel like you want to be able to modify, then you would choose your editable. More importantly, below the publisher sources, you have reading levels. So you can see that it will show you, what level do you want it at? Do you want it at the grade level that you currently are teaching? Or do you want it below the current grade level? Also included, and I'm sorry I couldn't fit it on the screen, you can also filter by Lexile levels. And for those of you that might be teaching in the Dual Language Academy, you can also select materials that are in Spanish only. So that's the left-hand side. I would highly recommend, if you're doing searches, to kind of play with this filter as you have time to dive a little bit deeper into Discovery. Across the top is another avenue in which to do your filtering. Discovery, under all services, that gives you every single item that Discovery has that would address your topic, in this case, earthquakes. I can also use this pull down menu and I can say, hey, I just want the science TechBook activities that are dealing with earthquakes, and it will give me just that material that's contained within the science TechBook. You also notice that you can do it by grade spans and then also by the type of materials that you are looking for, whether it's a text or a video. You can access them that way as well and filter them. So I selected the second one, which is earthquake. Once I selected and I opened up the earthquake, again, you'll notice they still have the plus, and right below that, you have the 3 dots. If you click share, that's going to give you a link, and we don't want to do that. At this point, we're going to assign it directly into our students' TechBook and into their dashboard. So again, you're going to click assign. This is similar to what you did within the TechBook, and it's the same throughout Discovery. The difference is the view that you see in the assigning the content menus. So again, you have your assignment dates. You have the ability to select the classes that you want. And then you have the ability, once you've done the classes, again, you'll notice it says all students selected. If you don't want all students to be selected, you can click on that and it's going to pull this up for you. You deselect, and then you just go and put a checkbox in front of those students that you would like to assign that assignment to. Then you can click on assign, and it's going to say, hey guys, you assigned it. It's going to tell you what classroom you assigned it to and how many students you assigned it to. And then you have 2 options. You can click OK. If you click OK, it's just going to disappear just like the other ones do. If you click View Assignment Manager, it's actually going to open up your Assignment Manager where you can preview everything that you've assigned to your students. And we are going to be looking at that and addressing that later in this presentation. So I'm going to pause there, and if you have a question, you are welcome to type it in the chat box. We are small enough so that if you wanted to unmute your microphone and ask the question, you could do that as well. So I'll pause for a moment and see if there are any questions.
I'm going to speak for just a second. There was a question about video links. You guys, I've tried to fix most of them. Cha-ching came up with errors. That's the one that Bev Vaughn is speaking to. Susie, I'm not sure which ones your parent clicked on, but YouTube videos should have been resolved. The cha-ching should have been resolved. If your parent has an issue with a video, could you please try to find out specifically which video it is so that when you email me, I know which one it is and I can work on it. But as far as I know, all of your video links right now should be working. I just wanted to get that in there since there was that question, and now I'll let it go back to questions on assigning content.
Thank you, Erica, for addressing those questions. Any other questions? Okay, doesn't look like we have any questions, so I'm going to move on. And we're going to be looking at accessing the assignment manager. So in accessing the assignment manager, this is where you're going to be able to see all of the assignments that you've assigned, how many people have completed it. Now, if you go back and you click on the D, you're going to go back to your landing page or the home page, and you're going to notice across the top you have a list of tiles and tools that you can use. In order to get to the assignment manager, you need to click on your classroom tile that's up there on the top. So regardless of where you're at, if you want to review the assignment manager, click on the global D and then click on classroom. That's going to give you this view that's up here. You'll see that down the left-hand side, you'll see that it shows you have 2 areas, student activity and my classrooms. Currently, we're going to look under student activities and we're going to look at assignments. That's where the classroom assignment manager defaults to, is that view. If you were to click student reports and you're like, oh, I need to go back to all assignments, you would just click on that assignment button. That's going to pull up all of the assignments that you've assigned to the class. And you'll notice that it tells you the start date, the due date, what the title is, what type of activity it is, and who assigned it. That is all important information. And if you're part of the Dual Language Institute and you have created an assignment in Spanish, the title that comes up here will actually be in Spanish. So I want to draw your attention to the far right and to the two titles across the top of completed and actions. What completed does is it tells you how many of your students have completed that assignment. So if you had 32 students and 10 of them completed, it would come up of 10 of 32. And we are going to address in a little bit how you can get your students to show up there as completed, because there is a step that they need to take on their end for it to show on your assignment manager. And then under actions, you have three little buttons that are over there. And the one that I really want to focus on is the eyeball. The eyeball opens up this detail view that's down here that takes you into that particular assignment, and it gives you basically all of your students and where they are. In other words, have they started it? The results tab will tell you if it is a pre-graded activity within Discovery. It'll tell you what their score is. Discovery has some multiple choice and drag and drops embedded within their activities that show up there. The results that don't show up are the results where they are short answer essays. So you can see those tools that are over there that are important. And again, that comes off the eyeball and it just gives you details. And the nice thing about it is it shows you all of your students for that one assignment. The next thing now we're going to look at is we're going to look at the My Classrooms section. And under the All Classrooms, again, this is more for the 712 teachers. You would be able to see all of your classroom listed. You could click on the classroom and it's going to give you all of the students that are embedded within that class. You can sit down, and this is also another way that you can activate and look kind of like at the grades. If you click on the all students, it's going to give you a list of all of your students that are enrolled in your classes. If you are TK6, that's going to be whatever your class roster is. If you are 712, it will give you, unless you filter it, it will give you all of your students for every single course that you have. So if you are teaching biology and you have 5 courses and 30 students, it's going to show you all 150 students that are on there, unless you go through and filter it. So the important part about My Classroom is this little icon over here on the far right under the actions where you see a little person. That right there will allow you to impersonate your student. So, any questions so far? I'm going to go ahead and pause there. You can type them in the chat or you can unmute your microphone if you'd like. Okay. Doesn't look like or sound like we have any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and go on with impersonating a student. So now I've gone to that all students view. I found the student that is saying either they did the assignment, they don't know why it's not showing up completed, or maybe it's like, hey, I just want to check out and make sure that the assignments I've assigned, the students are able to access. So I click on my little icon of the person under actions, and it's going to give me this view right here of the student homepage. This top portion where you see the welcome, this is the student's dashboard where all of their assignments are going to park. That's where all of the assignments that you have assigned them are going to show up until they've completed it. So that is an easy way to just quickly view to make sure that your assignments are present. Once you've gone through and you've reviewed what you needed to on the student, it's important that you remember to go back and quit impersonating. And the way you're going to do that is go up to the top toolbar and you're going to notice some initials. In this case, it's the initials of the student. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to get a menu. That's going to mean I can sign them out or I can quit impersonating. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit impersonating. As soon as I quit impersonating, it's going to send me back to this all students view in my classroom. So I quit impersonating. So what does a student's page look like? How do they access the TechBook? How do they access assignments? That's what this next view is showing us. So again, I've impersonated a student. The way that I know that I'm impersonating a student is right over here, VC. Those are not my initials. So I know I'm on the student page and then it has the name of the student across the top. All of the assignments that I have assigned that have not yet come due will show up here in the student dashboard. When the student completes it and marks that assignment as complete, this tile will disappear because they finished it. Until they mark that assignment as complete, even if they did everything, if they do not mark that assignment as complete, it will still show up here until the due date and then it will disappear. If a student wants to see what are all the assignments that they've done over the past, they can click on the view all assignments here, or they can also click on this assignments tab here. I personally think it's easier for them to just monitor what assignments they're working on using this dashboard right here, but that's a personal preference between you and your students. So below that, in the tile area, you're going to notice that there's some options for students to be able to look at. But under my resources, that's where your students are going to find your science tech book. So if a student's like, I can't find my tech book, what you want to do is tell them to go to their homepage, look under their my resources, and you want them to click on the science tech book, and then that will allow them to get into the full-blown tech book. If all you want them to do is access the assignments that you have assigned to them, then what you're going to do is just have them click on their assignments up here. And that's going to open them directly to that activity or to that page in the tech book. If for some reason they're having problems with that, they can navigate using their science tech book, or if they want to go in and browse and see what's in their science tech book, they can go to my resources and access the science tech book. All right, so now let's talk about how does a student submit an assignment. So the students clicked on the assignment tile. It opened up my assignment. I read the information that was at the top, and then I typed in my answer. There are two options that a student has. If they are running out of class time to be able to type their answer fully, they can click save, and what that will do is that will save their answer for them, and then they can go back and they can add to it at a later date. You will not see that they have written anything there because they have not yet submitted it to you. So they type in their answer, they click save, that allows them to go back and edit their answer, that allows them to go back and add to it or modify it. Or if there were multiple questions and they only had time to get 2 questions done, then they can do the third question on their own time independently. Once they have finished the assignment, they want to hit submit. That will then show that they have submitted the assignment, but it will not clear the assignment off of the dashboard. What they will have to do is scroll up to the top of the activity, and they're going to find in the upper right-hand corner this green box that says Mark as Complete. Once they've marked it as complete, it takes it off of their dashboard and it shows up in your assignment manager that they have completed their assignments. So save lets them edit. Submit lets them submit it to you for grading. Mark as complete says this assignment is done, and it shows up and it removes that assignment off of their dashboard so that they're not like, but I did this, and they keep clicking on it and saying, see, my answers are there. Oftentimes, this is the biggest step that the students are missing to prevent it from becoming as marked as completed in your assignment manager. Okay, now to talk about the difference between assigning something through Schoology and assigning it through Discovery. If I go into the assignment and I click share and I get the link and I paste the link into Schoology and I tell the students to click on that and do that assignment, I may not be able to see the student responses and submissions. They'll see a submit button, but for some reason, it does not, when you assign it as a link, it doesn't always show in your assignment manager that they've submitted that activity. And a reminder for students to be able to access Discovery through Schoology is once they are in the Schoology course, down that left-hand side, there's a Discovery button that they can click on, and when they click on that Discovery button, it actually opens the Discovery TechBook or the Discovery platform in Schoology. So if I assign the assignment through Discovery, it's going to show, when they click on it, it's going to show on the dashboard right here for them. And then when they click it and they submit it and mark it as complete, I, as a teacher, am going to be able to see it in my assignment manager. My recommendation would be to assign it through Discovery if it is something you want to grade, if it's a response that you want to see. And then what they can do is you can just put a note under assignments, please open your Discovery education book via the link on Schoology, and they open it right there and they're going to see this page and they're going to be able to launch on it from there. I noticed that Gina says, what about a student who submits and then realizes that they needed to change something? You have, under Assignment Manager, you have the ability to click on that student's assignment and clear it. And what that does is that allows them to go back then and resubmit it. And that would be done under the assignment. In the Assignment Manager, there's an avenue where you can go in and you can click it as a clear, and that'll clear it off for them, and they can go back and re-answer the question or modify their answers. And that is one really good thing to point out. Once that student hits submit, they cannot make any changes unless you clear that assignment for them. So that's all I have for you today. If there are any questions, Erica and I are here for you to answer questions. I know that sometimes the questions don't arise until we're actually out and into Discovery, and that's okay. You can email us with those questions. You can also, if you want to go deeper or you're unsure about something, you can always email us and we can set a one-on-one meeting up with you utilizing Teams, where you can share your screen with us or we can share our screen with you. So those are also avenues once you're out there and you are working with it. If you find that there are questions that haven't been answered, you can contact us via email.
So Melody, really quickly, before we answer Diana's question, I just want to let you guys know that if you are using the resources in the resources folder, you don't have to worry about all this assigning content, because we're giving you things that they can do, and we're actually giving you PDFs for things to submit, that you don't have to access the TechBook in Discovery. If you're an upper grade teacher, or like Gina, I think you teach 6th grade, I'm not sure, but if you are using your TechBook to assign content that maybe you were working on before closures and you want to continue with that, that's when you'll want to be able to access and know how to assign content through your through Discovery. So I just wanted to make that clarification. If you are a primary teacher that you're just using what's in the resources folder, you don't necessarily at this moment in time need to worry about all of this information. But if you are a teacher that is assigning content that you are continuing from your TechBook that you were doing before the closures, that's where you'll want to know how to assign the content. And as Melody said, it's much better for you to assign it through Discovery and let your students know in your directions within Schoology that you have assigned something for them, so that they can submit that work to you.
The other thing, just really quick, the activities we put in there are suggested activities and a place to help you guys get started. If you feel comfortable and you're like, hey, I want to move on, and you want to assign your own content, that's fine. If you're still trying to navigate through Discovery, please use those resources. That's what they're there for. But please make sure that you're going in and looking at those resources, modifying them to meet the needs of your classroom. Because I think that that's important. Sometimes we're getting teachers that are just assigning it, and it may or may not be working as well for the classroom. So please make sure that you're reviewing those. Diana, in answer to your question, no. If they access Discovery through Schoology, since Discovery is a single sign-on, once they click on that Discovery link in Schoology the first time, it just opens up the Discovery platform within Schoology. So the nice thing is it's a one-stop shop. They don't have to go to Schoology, get the assignment, and then open up Discovery through student applications. They can do it all in that, all through Schoology using that Discovery button. Also, don't forget to register your attendance. Erica's placed the link on there. Erica and I will be hanging out for a little bit. If you have any questions, we definitely appreciate your time, and we will be sending you a copy of the PowerPoint along with the link to the recording by Friday the 24th via email. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. Thank you again, guys, for your time this morning, and Eric and I are available for questions.